So, good evening, everyone. Hello and welcome, everyone. So, my name is Dalsaniya, and just give me a confirmation in the chat box if I'm clearly audible as well as visible. Just write down yes or no in the chat box so that I can get an idea. Okay, thank you, Rajneesh, and thank you, Sumit, for the confirmation. So, let me just give you an idea about what these sessions are if you don't know what the sessions are meant for. Okay, so this is the first video of our, let me show you the page. Okay, so this is the first video of our Geek Week, and those who have like those who don't know what is Geek Week, just let me give you a short idea about what Geek Week is all about. So in this Geek Week, basically you will be able to attend all these live sessions which will be delivered by industry experts, and they will be giving you the insights of what actually is being done in the industry. Okay, and there will be some contest at the end of each and every video, each and every session. So what you need to do if you want to attend all these sessions, just uh, register to this course, and this course is going to be free of cost. You don't have to pay anything for this course, and you can get the best out of it. You can have the details about each and every sessions which are available. Okay, and at the end of this Geek Week, the top performers of the contest will be awarded cash prize or some rewards will be given to them. Okay, so just quickly, I'll be sharing you the link of this in the chat box so you can register this course quickly, and it is completely free of course. Okay, great. So I've shared the link in the chat box. If you have not registered, just quickly click on this link and you will be uh, directed to the course page. Okay, so let me give you an introduction about myself. So my name is Dalsaniya, and I'm a mentor at Geeks for Geeks, and I've been teaching and training students in computer science from past 2 years. Okay, so that was a short introduction about myself. So I would like to know about the audience as well who are currently watching me. So, like, what are you currently doing? Are you a college student or are you a working professional? Just write down what you currently are doing in the chat box. Link not working, I guess. Is it so? Is the link not working? Okay, so no worries. If you want to access this course page, just go down in the description and there will be an option available that will say register, or you can just go to the all courses and just search for boundary breaker bootcamp. So let me just write down. Okay. Okay, you can search for this in the courses section. Courses section. Okay, so we have a response from Kalyani. She is working professional in PHP. Okay, good, great. Rajneesh is a student. Okay, college student. Okay, no worries. So this session is going to be for everyone. Let's say if you know simple programming also, no, then in this lecture we'll be building an entire backend application with the help of database, with the help of Java programming language. Okay, so you can consider this as a project, and at the end of the session, I would like everyone, those who have attended this session, to try this project on your own. Okay, so we'll be building the complete Java backend application from scratch. I'll be explaining you each and every component, that how actually the fundamental of like backend works in Java. Okay, so Vaishali says pass out student 2023. Okay, okay, great. So without any delay, let's start. Okay. Okay, Namrata, working professional, got it. I hope my screen is visible. Okay. Okay, great. Okay. Okay, no worries. So those of you are student, those of you are college student, those of you are working professional. Okay, so you can consider this as a small project which you can do it. Okay, great. If the registration is done, then just get the details about each and every session. Okay, these sessions details will be available. Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so let's start the session. So what I'll be doing, first of all, will be understanding how we can develop the backend application in Java. Okay, so let me give you a quick overview of what actually works. So just give me a minute. I need to connect. Just give me a minute. Okay, let's start. Hi, future audience. Okay, hi. So we'll try to make this session very much interactive, and I have my another screen open on this end. If you have any kind of doubt, just write down in the chat box, and I'll be answering all your queries. Okay. So first of all, what I'll be doing, first of all, we'll be understanding how the backend application in Java really works. So what are the important components included? Okay. So first of all, let's say, uh, okay. So first of all, let's say there is a login page available. Okay. So the login page says you just simply need to enter the username and you simply need to enter the password over here. And there is a button given to you that says OK button. Okay. Sorry for the bad drawing, but just focus on the concept right now. Okay. So this is the login page available on the viewer side. And here is your database. If you want to access the details which are present inside the database, and let's take an example of a database called as MySQL. MySQL is a very famous database. Okay, so now let's say I want to log in through via this page, and I want to access the data which is stored inside my database. Okay, so what is the background process which happens when you develop the application using Java? Okay, so first of all, there is an intermediate layer present over here. Okay, see, as soon as you write down your username and password, your page will redirect the username and password which you have written over here, and this layer which is present between the front end and the back end, between the front end and the database, does the processing of the data. Okay, it needs to check, no, let's say there might be like person who has no authorized access to the database, and he might be trying to access the database, right? So the processing of the username and password will be done by this layer, and it will be checking whether the credentials are correct or not. If the credentials are correct, then the data will be fetched from the database, and that data will be visible to the front page, to the page of the website, right? So basically, if you develop this entire application, if you want to develop this entire front end part, if you want to develop this processing part, and if you want to communicate with the database, everything can be done with the help of Java programming language. So if you want to develop the front end part using Java, there was a technology called as JSP, that means Java Server Pages. Okay, and that deals with, see, the backend programmers are not meant to worry a lot about the front end part, right? Basically, they are not supposed to work a lot on advanced CSS and HTML. So JSP was developed so that the backend programmer who knows little about the front end part can develop the front end for this backend application. Okay, so now this JSP will be the front end part, and this is the processing part. And for processing, there is something called a servlet that does all kind of processing of the data. Okay, So this is how the backend application can be developed with the help of Java. Is this part clear? A little bit about JSP and a little bit about servlets. A quick yes or no in the chat box from everyone if this is clear to everyone. A quick yes or no in the chat box. Okay, fine. So we'll move forward. Okay, so now this is how the backend application can be developed. Now let's try to focus on the other part. That is, let's say, okay, so now let's say here is a Java application. Okay, so we are not going to learn about JSP in this lecture. We are not going to learn about servlets. We are going to learn about an intermediate part between the Java application and the database. Okay, so let me explain you. So let's say this is your Java application, and this Java application will be completely written in which language? In Java language, right? And here is your database. The database is present on this end. Now, if you want to fetch the data from the database, you cannot directly ask or call the methods that can access the data from the database, right? Because over here, what is ASP then? ASP? JSP. It is ASP. It is JSP. That is Java Server Pages. If you want to develop the front end part using Java, then there is a technology called as Java Server Pages. Okay. So if you want the Java application to communicate with the database, see, Java understands this Java application will be capable of understanding only Java programming language. And the database at the end can understand only structured query language, that is SQL. Now, how can you have a communication between the Java application and the database? So there is an intermediate component which is given by Sun Microsystem, the owner of Java. Back then, who developed Java? Java was developed by Sun Microsystem, right? And now it is owned by Oracle. So Sun Microsystem gave a concept of JDBC. Okay, so what does this JDBC stand for? JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity. Okay, so just let me write down the full form of JDBC. That is Java Database Connectivity. So what is this JDBC? Now, in short, if you want to understand what this JDBC means, see, let's say if you have some Java application and wants to communicate with the database, JDBC acts as a translator. It converts the Java specific calls into database specific calls, and database specific calls, whatever database will return, it will convert it into Java understandable manner. So the conversion between the Java application and the database, the communication is done with the help of the JDBC, that is nothing but translator, that acts as a translator. It translates whatever Java specific calls are done into database specific calls and database specific calls into Java specific calls. Okay, is it clear the idea about JDBC, what this JDBC stands for? A quick response from everyone if this is clear to everyone. Okay, fine. So now, what is this JDBC? JDBC is nothing but an API. JDBC actually is nothing but an API. It is but nothing but an API. Okay, so let me just turn on my fan. Okay, so JDBC is nothing but an API. So what does it mean by an API? See, API is something that you don't need to worry about how the processing will be done. Let me give an example of an API. Imagine you have a switchboard, right? You don't know the internal wiring of this switchboard. If you click on the switch, then it will either turn on the light, either it will turn on the fan, right? It will do something. So basically, the switch acts as an API. So that is what an API means in simple terms. Okay, so now let's say here is my JDBC API. So what was the reason behind giving this JDBC API? See, we can have different types of databases, right? We can have n different types of databases. We have Oracle database, we have MySQL database, we have PostgreSQL database, right? MySQL, Oracle, and many databases are present. Now, let's say this Java application wants to communicate with any of the database. Let's say currently my Java application was communicating with the MySQL database, right? Now let's say if you don't want to use MySQL database for this Java application and you want to switch to Oracle database. So what is the benefit of having this JDBC API? What is the benefit of having this API? See, the benefit of having this API is that whenever you want to change the database, this application is not database independent. It is not database, it is not database dependent application. That means this application is database independent application. With the help of JDBC API, this JDBC API makes the Java application database independent. So basically, now currently if I was using MySQL, I can quickly change the Oracle database and I don't need to change even whatever is written inside the Java application. So that is the reason of providing the JDBC API. So that makes the application as database independent application. Okay. So now you might be wondering, see, as I mentioned, this is an API, right? So abstract methods will be present, right? So what is JDBC API? It is nothing but it is a collection of classes and interfaces. Okay, so JDBC API is nothing but a collection of classes and interfaces. So now over here, you might be wondering, we know that if we want to use a class, we can directly create an object of a class and we can use that class, right? Now, what about this interface? Interface needs the implementation, right? So who provides the implementation of this interface? So let's say I was using MySQL database. If I was using MySQL database, then the implementation of this JDBC API will be provided by MySQL. Now let's say instead of MySQL, I was using Oracle database. So the implementation of the interfaces which are present inside your JDBC API will be provided by Oracle. So basically, the database vendor will provide the implementation in terms of a jar file. Okay, let me repeat again. The implementation of the interfaces which are present inside your JDBC API will be provided by the database vendor in the form of a jar file. Jar file is nothing but a collection of classes, a basic collection of classes. It contains all different classes and methods. Okay, and this implementation of interfaces is called the driver. It is called the driver. You might have heard the word driver, right? If you want to, let's say if you want to use a mouse, if you want to use a keyboard, then you need to install the relevant driver. So similarly, if I want to use this MySQL database, then I need the driver which is provided by MySQL. And then my Java application can communicate with the database. Is this part clear? Yes or no? Any doubt till now? These are the important components of uh, developing a backend application. Is this part clear? Yes or no? Quick response from everyone, then we can move ahead. Okay. So now over here, these are the basic components. And let me just summarize the basic components required. JDBC API, it is nothing but it is a collection of classes and interfaces. A collection of classes and interfaces. And who provides the implementation of the interfaces? Database vendor. Database vendor means the company that owns the database. Let's say I'm using MySQL, then who is the owner of MySQL? The MySQL himself. If I'm using Oracle database, who is the owner of Oracle database? Oracle. So Oracle will be providing the implementation. So what is a driver? It is nothing but a collection of implementation classes. Okay, so these are the two important components, JDBC API and driver. So now let's say how to develop the Java application. What are the steps to develop the JDBC application? Okay, and in this lecture itself, I'll be explaining you each and every step in very much detail, and will be developing a basic CRUD application in which will be storing the data of the entire, let's say, players who will be scoring. Basically, will be creating a scoreboard on the database. Okay, so now what are the steps to develop the JDBC application? So these steps are very much fundamental. See, whichever languages you might be working, like whichever frameworks you might be working with. Okay, so each and every framework is built upon some fundamental concept. Okay, and you might have heard about different frameworks which are used with Java. You might have heard about Spring Boot, right? Have you heard about these frameworks? Yes or no in the chat box. How many of you have heard about the framework Spring and Spring Boot framework? Okay, so if you are not aware about the framework, okay, great. Milton Gaming, okay, great. So if you have not heard about the framework, no, so let me give you an idea. Great, Namrata, if you already know. See, frameworks. See, Spring is one of the most famous framework which is used with Java programming language. Okay, so all these framework are built upon fundamental concepts. Okay, and JDBC is the fundamental concept, and those frameworks will be using this concept. But they will this framework the task of this framework is to make all this process very much simpler. Okay, and in fundamental in the backend side, this is the process which will be done automatically, or some of the processes you might need to do along with the framework. Okay, so these are the detailed steps which are required. So first of all, I'll be explaining this entire thing with the help of a story. Okay, and this is a very famous story. So let's say currently my location is in Noida. Okay, and now uh, I had a call from my friend. Okay, so I had a call from my friend, and he just gave me an information about some XYZ location. Okay, he said that there is an XYZ location, and at that location gold and diamonds are available. Okay, at that location gold and diamonds are available, and they are available at a very cheap cost. And let's say the cost of gold and diamond is like for 10 rupees you will be getting 1 kg of gold. So don't ask me the location of this place, because this is an hypothetical story. Okay, so at this XYZ location, gold and diamonds are available at a very cheap cost, 10 rupees 1 kg of gold. And I got excited. Okay, so I also want to visit this place. But the problem is that there is a small problem, that I know only Hindi and English. I know only Hindi and English and Gujarati. Okay, but this XYZ location, the people located at this XYZ location, they only understand XYZ language. Okay, they are only capable of understanding XYZ language. So there's an issue. How will I communicate with these people? Because I don't know this XYZ language, right? So what I'll be doing, I'll be hiring a translator, right? So basic, that is the basic thing. So I'll hire one translator, and that translator knows both the language which I speak and this XYZ people's language. Okay, so I can communicate with this XYZ people. Now there is one more issue, that there is no road or no medium available through which I can reach this XYZ location. Okay, so in order to solve this, what I did, I constructed a road between the current location and this XYZ location. Okay, so basically there is a road. I constructed a road because I need this gold and diamond. They are available at a very cheap cost. Okay, so this road is available, right? So now if I want to travel to this XYZ location, I need a medium, right? I need a vehicle, either it be a car or an aeroplane or a something. So what I'll be doing, I'll be buying one, let's say, car to reach this location. Okay, and now I can easily go to this XYZ location through this car. And what I'll be doing, and inside this car, basically I'll not sit inside this car, I'll write down a letter of my requirements in this XYZ language, and this translator will help me to write down the description of my requirements, and I'll put that description in this car, and this car will go to this XYZ location and it will reach over here, and the people over here will read out the description, what are my requirements. Okay, and now they can completely understand what are the requirements because it is written in XYZ language. Now over here, what these people will do, they will prepare a box containing golds and diamond. They will prepare a package that contains gold and diamond, and they will put this inside this car, and this car will again come back to me, and over here this will be the box, and I'll extract this box and I'll get my gold and diamond. Okay, is this story clear to everyone? Those who have understood this story, just write down yes or no in the chat box if this is clear. Just a yes or no in the chat box if this story is clear to everyone, because this is the analogy which I'll be using to explain all the steps to develop the JDBC application. Okay, just a quick recap of this story. See, currently I'm situated in Noida. This is my location, and one of my friend informed me about this XYZ location where gold and diamonds are available at a very cheap cost, 10 rupees 1 kg. Now I want to bring gold and diamonds from this XYZ location. But the problem is that XYZ people, XYZ language. I can understand Hindi, Gujarati, and English. So what I did, I hired a translator. I hired a translator. Now the communication gap is been reduced down, right? But now in order to reach this XYZ location, I need a road. I need something through which I can reach this location, right? So I constructed a road. Now I can reach, but in order to travel, this XYZ location is located at some, let's say, this many kilometers, at 10,000 kilometers. So I cannot just walk to this XYZ location. So I bought a car, and inside this car, what I did, I placed the description of whatever my requirement was, and I also placed some money inside it. Now this car will automatically reach this XYZ location. These people will read out the description. They will understand because I took the help of this translator and wrote down the prescription of what I was requiring, right? And what they will be doing, this XYZ people will they will be putting all the golds and diamonds according to my requirement in the box, and they will put this box inside the car, and this car will again come back to me, and I will just extract my gold and diamond from this box. So this is the story. So now here comes how this analogy is helpful to understand the steps of developing JDBC application. So let me explain you. See, now pay proper attention over here. Okay, so if you remember this story, then you will be not able to forget these steps of developing the JDBC application. Okay, so that's my guarantee. Okay, so now imagine this current location as the Java application. Okay, so this is Java application, and this Java application understands only Java language. Okay, now imagine this XYZ location as your database. Okay, so this is your database. Okay, fine. And this database understands only which language? It understands only SQL language, structured query language. Fine. Now this translator translates the Java specific calls into database specific calls and vice versa. So isn't it similar to driver? Right? Over here, I already explained. a driver a collection of implementation classes of JDBC API, and basically this is the driver. So this translator is nothing but your driver provided by the database. Now, in order to establish this road is similar to what? A connection. For now, just try to understand this is something called as connection, and I'll be creating an object of this connection. Okay, so this is a connection, and road is similar to connection, and this car which I am using is similar to some object called as statement object. This is your car and this is your statement object. And inside this car, what I'm putting my requirements. I'm putting a piece of paper that says X kg of gold and Y kg of diamonds. So that is nothing but my SQL query. Whatever query I want to give on the database, let's say select star from table, any table. Select star from table. So that is your query. That query will be placed inside this statement object. Similar to what I placed a description inside this car, and this car will go. This basically the statement object will reach this database, right? And the database will understand the query, and based on the query, it will prepare a box. And this box is similar to something called as a result set. See, all of these are objects, okay? Connection, statement, result set, all of them are objects. For now, just try to understand. This is result set. The box is similar to result set. And now this box, basically the result set will be placed inside this car. And this car will again come back to the Java application. Okay. Till now, was it clear? The analogy, statement object, connection object, result set, database, and Java application, and the driver. Just let me quickly summarize the components and the analogy which I have used. So first of all, here is your Java application, basically the Noida, basically my location. Okay, for example. And this is similar to what? It is similar to your Java application. The XYZ location where your golden diamond, basically your data is our golden diamond, right? So this XYZ location is nothing but your database. Okay, fine. Now here comes the work of translator. Who works as a translator? Translator. The driver, basically the jar file provided by the database, works as a translator, and it is called driver. And here the road is similar to the connection object, right? So the road between the Noida and XYZ location is similar to what? Connection. And the car, this car is similar to what? It is similar to the statement object. Okay, so the car which I'll be using, or let's say the vehicle or something, car which I'll be using is similar to what? It is similar to statement object. And the last step, that is the box. This box, it is similar to what? The result set. It is similar to result set. So the box in which golden diamond will be present is similar to what? It is similar to result set. So these are the basic steps. Is it clear? Like basic, this entire analogy, is it clear to everyone? Yes or no in the chat box? A quick yes or no in the chat box. And if you're enjoying this session, just give a quick like to this video. Where is API, sir? Okay, so we'll come to that part as well. Where is API? Okay. But for now, this story, it should be very much clear to everyone. Okay, fine. I got a confirmation. Just a minute. Let me just open this. Okay, got it. So this box is similar to what? It is similar to result set. Stay till the end of this video, and at the end of this video, I am like guaranteeing you that I can give the guarantee that you yourself will be able to build a backend application. Okay, so stay till the end of the video. Stay till I finish this entire thing. Okay, so now let's try to understand. So what are these steps? I'll come first of all to these steps. So the steps to develop the JDBC application. Or just write down steps. So what are these steps? Just for now, if you don't understand these steps, just focus on these steps. Like basically try to understand. So the first step is based on the translator. Okay. The first step is based on the translator. The translator, who is translator over here? I can see driver is the translator. So the first step is to load and register the driver. Load and register the driver. So what does it mean? See, let's say this is my system, and inside this system I have, let's say, n number of database 1, database 2, database 3. So as I mentioned, each and every database will have their own driver. So I'll be having n number of drivers, database 1, database driver 2, driver 3. For each and every database, I'll be having a driver, right? Now, inside my system, I also have the Java application, right? I want to use the database. So first of all, I need to inform the Java application that which database should I connect to, which database am I going to use, right? So that is what it means by load and register the driver. So first of all, explain your Java application that I am going to use this driver, whether I'm going to use MySQL driver, whether I'm going to use Oracle driver or PostgreSQL driver. Which driver are you going to use? Basically, which translator are you going to use? Okay. Now here comes the second step. After informing about the translator, what is the second step? Now the second step is to build this road, right? The second step was to build the road. Somehow I need to reach this XYZ location. So the second step is upon the road. So first of all, establish the connection. Establish the connection with the database. See, after attending this entire session, there will be a contest available, and you guys can go to that course page and attend that contest. And all the questions, you will be able to answer each and every question if you understand this thing very nicely. Okay. So the second step was build the road, that is establish the connection with the database, right? So basically, if I'm going to use, let's say, for example, I'm going to use database 2, that is DB2. So I need to establish the connection, right? So connection will be established. Now, what is the next step? The next step is to build this car. I need to buy this car, right? In order to reach the XYZ location. So the second step is upon the car. I need the car. So basically, that is create the statement object. There is a class, there is an interface available, and I need an object of that interface. That interface will be implemented by whom? It will be implemented by driver. And this interface will be present inside which? It will be present inside the JDBC API. Okay, I got a question that what is JDBC API. For now, just focus on this part. I'll explain what is JDBC API. So I built a car, that is create the statement object. Now the next step, after getting the car, I need to write down my description. What data do I need from the database? How much gold or diamond is required? Right? I need to write down that. So basically, I will call that as my description. So description is nothing but, first of all, prepare, send, and execute the query. Okay, so prepare, send, and execute the query means, first of all, in your mind, what kind of data do you need from the database? Okay, that is called preparation. Then you have to send it with the help of some method, and the execution will be done by database. So you don't need to focus on the execution part. Okay, fine. So the description is ready. Now what? See, the box will be returned by this database, right? So I need to work on this box. So this fifth step will be on this box. That is, process the data, process the result from result set. Okay, box gold and diamond are present, just get the gold and diamond from it. And now the sixth step, see whatever connections you made, the Java application made a connection with the database, you created a road, right? Whatever connections were done by you, just close all the connections. Close the connections, because you don't want any kind of other people to use that database, right? And you don't want to use that resource if you are not going to use it. If you don't want to just keep the resource into use. So is this part clear? This entire step, is it clear? Just write down yes or no in the chat box if it is clear. A quick yes or no in the chat box if it is clear. Okay. So now, okay, so someone already asked. Someone already asked. Milton Gaming already asked, what is JDB? Where is the API? Okay, so let me explain you. Okay, so where is the JDBC API? Like where is the API? Okay, so basically JDBC is an API. As I mentioned, JDBC is an API. JDBC API. And how do we get this API? It is present inside java.sql package. This is the name of the package, and inside this package you'll be having different classes and interfaces, and this package itself is called JDBC API. Okay, those of you are not having the idea, where you might be confused, where is JDBC API. So basically this is the JDBC API, the java.sql package you need to import in your Java application, and that is what is JDBC API. And the implementation of this uh, package will be provided by your vendor, basically the database vendor. Vendor provides the implementation, and that is your driver software. That is your driver software, which is available as a jar file. Just go to whichever driver you are using. If I'm using MySQL driver, I'll visit the MySQL website and look for the driver, JDBC driver, and you will be getting a jar file available. And this jar file contains classes, different classes and methods. Okay, I'll be showing you each and everything. So now we are going to develop the JDBC application using these steps. We are going to develop the entire project using these steps. Okay, basic steps. So now what I'll be doing, I'll be using a database, and that database is nothing but MySQL database. Workbench, I'll be using Workbench for each and every all the programming. Okay, and I'll be using IntelliJ. Okay, so I'll be using this ID, and I'll be using MySQL Workbench. Okay, so now first of all we'll be starting with the database. So this is my database, and here is the list of schemas. So what I'll be doing, I will be creating a database. See, let me give you an idea about the project, what we are going to build. So what I'll be doing, I'll be storing a scoreboard. Basically, I'll be storing the entire scoreboard, a table which contains the ID of the player. It contains the name of the player. It contains how many runs that player has scored, and it contains the details about how many balls that many runs were done by that player. So I'm going to store this, and will be applying CRUD operations. That is, I'll be creating, basically inserting something. So CRUD, if you don't know what is CRUD, so create, read, update, and delete. Basically inside this table, I'll be inserting something. Reading means Basically, I'll be fetching the data. So that is nothing but read the data. Update means update the data. Let's say in the next over, Virat Kohli is going to score, let's say, 100 runs in, let's say, 50 balls. Okay. And delete, D stands for delete. Okay. So we are going to apply all these operations with the help of Java application, and all this thing will be reflected in your database. Is it clear? Yes or no in the chat box? Entire thing about the application. This is your scoreboard, and I'll be calling this table as scoreboard. A quick response from everyone. Yes or no in the chat box if this is clear to everyone. Okay, fine. So first of all, let's try to quickly get this database, get this table inside our database. So first of all, what I'll be needing, I'll be creating a table. Just a minute. Okay, so first of all, I already have a database. So let's directly create a database, and I'll be saying create database, and the name of the database, let's say I want it to be cricket. Okay, so I'll be creating this database and let's execute it. Okay, so database has been created. Let's refresh, and I can see this cricket database is available. And now let's say what I'll be doing, I'll be using this cricket database for all the queries. So use cricket database. So this executed. So now all the queries will be done on this database. And now what I'll be doing, I'll be creating one more table, basically a new table that is uh, called as score table. Create table, and let's call it score table. And what I'll be doing, I'll be needing the name of the each and every column. So first column will be your ID, and it will be nothing but your int type. The next one will be what? It will be the name of the player. Let's say name, and it will be nothing but varchar. So let's keep it to something called as 50. And the next one will be the runs which that player has scored, int, and balls, that is int. Okay, so this is the table. Okay, so let's have a look at the table present over here, and inside this table I have a score table. So this is my score table: ID, name, runs, and balls. Okay, so how many balls he has scored. So now this entire database. So now we are not going to touch this entire MySQL workbench for anything. We are going to simply observe the data which was inserted by our Java application. Okay, so now this thing has been written, and now what we'll be doing, we'll be doing all the coding in our Java application. Okay, is it fine? Yes or no? Okay, got it. So now let's start. So let me create a new project, and let's call it as first JDBC project. First JDBC project. And in Java, language build system is Maven, IntelliJ, and JDK 18. Add sample code? No. Just create it. And once more, I would like to share the details about the Geek Week. Those of you have not registered in Geek Week, I would like everyone to just quickly go and register to this Geek Week and get the best out of this. Okay, so basically you will be getting all these sessions by experts from the industries, and you'll be getting the goodies at, you'll be like basically announce the cash prizes and everything. If you do the, like, if you get a top ranking in the contest, you'll be getting a cash prize, or you can get a voucher for courses available. Okay, so for this, after this session also, you'll be getting a contest. So if you register inside this, let me just quickly show you the idea. So just click on registration and yeah, save and next. Okay, so after registering, this will be your entire page of the course, and just go to this contest and you will be having a contest. This is day 1, 14 out of 14. There will be 14 sessions, and each and every session will be having a contest. Okay, and here is the detail about each and every. So this is the current session, which is currently going on. Okay, so that was a quick, again, a reminder for everyone. Just quickly go and register to the Geek Week. Okay, so now let's continue. So now we'll be developing the entire CRUD application. So okay, so basically the entire CLI thing which we can do with the help of MySQL CLI will be using the Java application. Okay, creation, updation, deletion, insertion will be done through this Java application. So first of all, as I mentioned, we need the JDBC API. We need the JDBC API. And where is our JDBC API present? Anyone from the audience? I already explained where is our JDBC API present, in which package. Anyone from the audience? It is present inside java.sql package. So I'll be importing everything, each and every class is present. Okay, and let's write down the main method. So now inside this, first of all, what are the steps? Okay, so one by one I'll be writing down each and every steps as well. Yes, exactly, Harsha. It is inside java.sql. And one more thing, see, java.sql provides the basic JDBC, and if you want to use the advanced JDBC, it is present inside javax.sql. Okay, java extension.sql, that is javax.sql. Just write down x and you'll be getting advanced JDBC. Okay, so now I'll be writing down each and every steps. See, as I'll be using the input from the user, let me just create an object of scanner type is equal to new scanner system.in. Okay, so we are getting an error because we need to import it, right? So let's quickly resolve it. Util.scanner. Okay, let's import everything. Okay, so scanner class. So what was the first step? The first step, see, if you want to be with this entire session, just quickly take the screenshot of this entire steps and or let's. Okay, so the first step is to load and register the driver. Okay, so how to load and register the driver? Let me explain you. So the first step is to load and register the driver. So there is a class called as class. Okay, the name of that class is class, and there is a method called as for name. So this will help me to register the driver. Basically, this will help me to load the driver. So what does it mean by loading the driver? Basically, if you want to load any class inside the Java virtual machine, you use class.forName. So the Java virtual machine will use that class whenever required. So that is what it means by load the driver. So class.forName. And what is the name of the MySQL driver? Okay. So let me show you first of all how to download it. Driver not found error is showing. Okay. So if you are getting this error, no, see, driver not found error. First of all, we need to download the driver. So you can go to MySQL connector J. So this is MySQL connector J, and over here you will be getting all the drivers. So select the operating system, select platform independent, and just download the zip archive file. And if you download it, so you'll be getting, I have already downloaded, you will be getting a zip file, and inside that zip file, let me show you the downloads. And inside this zip file, you will be getting MySQL connector. And over here, this is your jar file. This is your driver. This is actually the driver which I am trying to show. Okay, so this is your driver. And you have to insert this driver. So how to insert this driver? Where to insert it? Let me show you. Okay, but before that, just let me write down the name of the driver. Okay, so name of MySQL driver. If you follow these steps, you will be able to write down the entire application on your own. Okay, so you first of all need to download it. Okay, Okay, Madhav. So name of the MySQL driver, it is jdbc.mysql.cj.driver. jdbc.mysql.cj.driver is the name of the driver. And what error are we getting over here? Let's just exception. Okay, so each and every method which is used by java.sql, it will be throwing some of the exception. So what I'll be doing, I'll be writing down throws exception over here. Okay, so everything will be handled. Okay, warrior, if you are new, anyone who is new, just get to the beginning of this video and I have explained each and every steps. Okay, I have placed the jar file in the location, in the project location. See, if you are using IntelliJ, IntelliJ makes everything easier for you. See, if you are using IntelliJ, first of all, after downloading the driver file, what you need to do, just go to file, just go to project structure, and over here, just go to modules. And inside the modules, what you can do over here, dependencies. Yeah. So let me show you again. Inside file, inside project structure, just go to modules. Over here, the second one is modules, and inside modules, go to dependencies. And inside dependencies, what I'll be doing, I'll be adding the jar file. Jar file, basically the driver file. So where is the jar file? The jar file is present over here inside downloads. So inside download, where is the jar? Where is the jar file? MySQL connector.jar. Right? So I'll be opening it, and MySQL connector.jar has been added. Just click on OK, and this will be added. Fine. So now this is how you connect the basically how you load the driver. Now let's say if I want to, the second step, what was the second step? The second step was to establish the connection with the database. So how to establish the connection? There is something called as driver manager, a class present inside the JDBC API, that is driver manager class. And what is the role and responsibility of this driver class? I mean the driver manager. It manages all the drivers. Basically, if you want to use any of the driver, just go to driver manager and register the driver. If you want to, if you are not supposed to, like say if you don't want to use the specific driver, then deregister the driver. Just call the deregister method. Okay, deregister the driver. It manages all the drivers present. Now let's say if you want to establish the connection with some specific database, then driver manager has got one method called as get connection method. I need to get the connection. So what I'll be doing, I will be just getting the connection by simply writing down the URL of the database. I'll be writing down the username. Generally, the username of MySQL is root each and every time. And what is the password? So the password generally comes out to be the password which you have kept it whenever you install the MySQL database inside your system. And my password is geeks@65, and this is my password. Okay. So don't try to hack my system and get the data. Sir, this will work on WordPress website. In CSS, I have my own blog site. I have placed the jar file. Driver not found. Okay, I have placed the jar file in the project location. Okay, great. So now, what is the URL? Okay, so URL will be something lengthier. So just let me get the URL and just let me edit over here. So what is the URL? URL is nothing but JDBC/MySQL. You can search for this URL and you will get the URL, localhost, and the port number at which this database is running. So what does it mean by URL? I'll just quickly explain it. Okay, 3306, and just write down the name of the database. I am using the database called as Cricket database. So what is this URL? See, URL is nothing but the network port at which your database is currently running. At which network port should your Java application send the request? This is the address. This is the address of your database. at this address your database is currently present. So your Java application will go with the username and password to this location at the home of the database, and it will say that this is the password and this is the username. Just let me access the data. So this is the address. Okay. And if the connection is not done, then this will be throwing you an exception. Sir, can I use this on WordPress website in CSS? I have my own blog website. See, this entire thing, JDBC and everything is meant for Java application only. Okay. So if you are using Java in your blog website, then obviously you will be capable of doing it. Okay. So this is completely based for a Java application. This entire thing. So driver manager, I told the driver manager that give me the connection. Okay, so fine. So now what I'll be doing, I'll be just quickly getting the connection. So this driver manager get connection will be throwing you. It will be returning an object of connection type. So connection, this is an interface present inside java.sql, and this get connection method of driver manager will be throwing you. It will be just sharing you the object of connection type. So I'll be handling it. So just to get a confirmation whether my connection is successful or not, just let me run this file. If we'll be having any kind of issues, see, we got an error that is class not found error. So just let me just check the name of the class. It is jdbc.mysql.cj.driver. Okay, so I made a mistake over here. It is com.mysql pom.mysql.jdbc.cj.driver. So these names are available online. You can search for Oracle database. You can search for PostgreSQL database. Okay, and now let's try to run it again. com.mysql.jdbc.cj.driver. It is con.connection. com.mysql.jdbc.cj.driver. Okay, so this is sorry, I added the wrong one. Basically, the jar file. I had a two version. I had two different versions over here. So this is the MySQL version 5. I need to add the current version because in my system I already have two different JDBC. I mean the jar files for the. So download the 8.1 version. Don't download the previous version because you'll be getting these errors, and the reason is that they don't have auto loading. Okay, so just remove this jar file. You can remove it. Okay, and now this will work perfectly fine. And let's try to run it again. So did I made a mistake? This driver. It is com.mysql.jdbc.driver. Okay, so it is working perfectly fine. It is com.mysql.cj.jdbc.driver. Okay, so this is the name. Okay, so now we have no errors. Basically, what you need to do, see, let me explain what actually we are trying to do over here. So where is the catch? Where is the catch? You mean this will work on my WordPress by Java? Yes, exactly. If you use Java, it will work perfectly fine. Sir, where is the catch? Okay, Harsha Setti, I did not understand. So basically, see, there are different versions of the drivers available, right? And the reason the previous code was not working because I already downloaded a previous version of the driver, and because of my personal interest, and the current version is 8.1.0 jar. You have to include this jar file. And see, if you have this jar file, no, see, this class.forname will be responsible for loading the driver. Okay, and the 8.1 version, it registers the driver on its own. Okay, and this is the name of the driver. So for the previous version, for the version 5, if you simply write down this class.forname, no, this is not enough. You need to register the driver, and for registering, you need to call the driver manager.register driver method as well. And that was the reason the previous one was not working. Okay, so now the connection is completely fine, and now we'll be jumping towards our entire application. Okay, so I have developed the entire connection has been established. Now my third step is to create the statement object. What is statement object? A car which was required, right? A vehicle to reach that XYZ location, if you guys remember, right? So now how to create this statement object? So this statement object is present inside the connection object. This connection object which you have over here, this has a method called as create statement method. So this method will return me an object of statement. Statement st is equal to con.create statement. Fine. Basically my car is ready. The statement object is ready. Now I can execute all different types of queries what I want. These are the 3 steps which are very much crucial, very much important. Basic connection required, whatever connections you want to do. This is your road, this is your translator, and this is your car, the vehicle, in which you will put your query, and that vehicle will go to the database. Okay. So now what I want the user to write down the details, whatever details the user wants. So what I'll be doing, I'll be having an infinite while loop, and in this while loop I'll ask the user. So I'll print out a statement. So enter the choice. So the user will say whether you want to insert the data, whether you want to. So for first, if the user says view the record, view the scoreboard. So the user will have to enter 1 if user wants to read the record, and if he wants to insert the new record, then user needs to add insert 2. And now let's say user wants to update the record, then 3. Now 4, delete the record. And 5th is to exit. Okay, so these are the choices given. If user says 1, then I'll be viewing the scoreboard. 2, then just insert the new record and update the record and delete the record. So now let's take the input. So end choice is equal to, just take the input from the user choice. I'll be using a switch over here. Okay, so that will make my work easier. So this will be case 1 and break. So here will be my case 2 break statement, case 3 break statement, case 4, and then break statement, and then default. So basically whatever default means you have to break. And what I'll be doing inside break, and instead of writing down true over here, what I'll be doing, I'll be having a boolean variable. Boolean flag is equal to true. And if the user wants to exit, then default will be executed, and inside default flag will be changed to false. And as soon as flag is changed to false, this while loop will not get executed. Okay, so your program will stop. So now case 1, what is case 1? Case 1 is to view the record, view the record. So basically this is view. So how to view the data, how to get the data from the database and showcase over here. So for that, let me just get back to the methods. What different methods are provided? See, this statement object is present, right? Statement object, the car. This statement object has different availabilities. Say if I want to execute a select query, there is a method called as execute query method. There is another method called as execute update method. So in this video, we are going to use these two methods, execute query and execute update. If you want to view the records, no, for viewing the records, that is select star from, this is the query. Star from what? Star from scoreboard. Okay. If you want to use this query, I'll be using this execute query method. And if I want to insert basically a new entry, I want to update something, or I want to delete something, I'll be using execute update method. Is it clear? Yes or no in the chat box? A quick response from everyone. A quick yes or no in the chat box if this part is clear to everyone. Okay, so now let's move ahead. Okay, so just focus execute query method, execute update method, and this both the methods takes an argument of string type, the SQL query, select star from scoreboard, insert into scoreboard where the values are this and that. Okay, so execute query, execute update. Let's get back to this. Now, case one is to view the scoreboard. Basically, select star from scoreboard is the query I want to execute, right? So I'll be creating string SQL is equal to select star from scoreboard. Fine. And do not forget to add semicolon over here because this is the query. And inside the query, we add semicolon, right? So do not forget to add the semicolon inside this double quotation as well. Fine. So now I'll call the execute query method. Execute query method present inside the statement object. Execute query method. Just pass the string. Okay. So execute query method will go to the database and it will fetch the data. So how will this data be given to us? If you remember over here, I already mentioned the database will put a box inside it. That box is nothing but what? Result set. An object. See over here, data result set object. Yes. So how to process the data from the result set? How to process the data from the result set? So basically, currently we have done this translation step, road step, car, everything has been done. Load and register the driver, establish the connection, create the statement object has been done. Now we are working on this step number 4, that is prepare, send and execute the query. Our query is ready. Select star from scoreboard. We are sending it using execute query method, right? This step is complete. But this box will be returned, that is process the result from result set. How to process the result? So if you want to process the result, no, this result set object has two main methods. One method is next method and the other method is getter method. So what does this next method do? So let me show you. If this is my table, no, if this is my table, this scoreboard, and I'm using a next method using the result set over here. Pay attention over here, proper attention over here. So now let's say I had a, let's say 100 Kohli and 1 Sharma 102, 60, and this is in 50. Now if I'm using result set and I'm using next method, see, result set works similar to, let's say I have created an object result set rs, that is the name of the object. Now let's say if I'm using this result set, no, this result set works the same way the iterator works. If you have heard about iterator, it is present in set collections. How the iterator works, it also has next method, right? So result set is currently pointing to the location right before your first data. This is my first data, 1 colon 150. So before this data over here, your result set is present. It is pointing over here. Now if I call the next method, no. Now if I call the next method, it will check whether next data is available. After this pointer, next data is available. Yes, Kohli data is available. So it will return true. And what it will do, it will be doing, it will be moving between the data 1 and data 2. It will be present after the data 1 and data 2. Basically in between the both the datas. It will never be pointing to exact data. It will be right before the particular data. Now again, if I call the next method, no, it will check, okay, next data is available. Yes, Sharma type of data is available. So it will return true. And it will proceed further and it will be pointing to the record right before that record. Now over here, now again if I call the next method, it will check whether next record is available. No, it is not available. So it will return false. So that is how next method works. Is it clear? Yes or no in the chat box? A quick response. Milton Gaming, Namrata, everyone. Is it clear? Okay, and what is this getter method? Let's quickly get to this getter method. See, this getter method is used to get the data from the database. If I use get int and I pass the ID, basically the index number. This is index 1, column index 1, column index 2, column index 3, and column index 4. So get int ID, integer, because this value is integer value. So it will return me this value 1. Now if I pass get string, because the name is a string variable, get string 2, it will return me Kohli. Okay, if I pass get string 3, obviously it is not string, the number of runs, it is an integer, get string 3, at index number 3, it is 100. So it will return 100. And get int 4, it will return 50. So this is next and getter method. So let's quickly write down, let's process the data. So this execute query will return the result set rs is equal to st, and now sultset. So while rs.next basically is true, I'll process the data. So how to print it? So what I'll be doing, I'll just quickly print something that is the name of each and every column. That is, first is ID, and I'll add a tab space. Again, what I'll be doing, I will be writing down name and a tab. Then I'll be writing down what? Just for displaying the output in a proper manner, I'm writing down this, okay? Name, and then total runs which was scored, okay? And then I'll be writing down how many balls in, okay? So this is the format in which it will be printed. Now what I'll be doing, I'll just quickly add a statement. I will add a as out. I will call the get int method for the first one, and I'll put some space. And I'll again add get string. Basically it is on rs.get int, rs.get string. And inside this I'll pass, what I'll be passing? I'll be passing to the column ID, rs.get int, the total number of runs. I'll be passing it as what? I'll add a tab space. rs.get int, total number of runs. again a tab space and rs.get int total number of balls. Okay, and that's it. So this will print the data from the database. And I think this case one. Just quickly write down s out pending, and let me show you the output. Okay, so this is our entire code, and let's try to quickly run this so we can get an idea about the output. So this is how the code is working. Enter the choice. I'll enter only one. View the scoreboard. So it is saying cricket.scoreboard does not exist. So we are getting a SQL exception that cricket.scoreboard is not existing. Select star from scoreboard. And what is the name of the score table? It is not scoreboard, it is score table. Okay, so let's quickly change it. Score table. And now let's try to run it again. It will work perfectly fine. Now, one. See, ID, name, runs, and tables have been printed. There is no data, so nothing has been printed after it. So now let's quickly write down the case number 2, that is how to insert the data. How to insert the data. Okay, so how to insert the data? First of all, we need to know the insert query. So insert query works like this. Insert into what is the name of the table? Score table. Okay, and I'll be writing down what are the values. Whatever values I will be inserting, I'll be writing down. Let's say first is ID1 and then Kohli, right? And then total number of runs and then total number of how many balls. In how many balls? In 50 balls. So this is the query, insert query. So like case number 2 is insert the new record. How to insert the new record? If I want to insert the new record, I need to use which kind of method? See, how many methods are available? Execute query method, execute update method. For insertion, I need to use execute update method. Okay, and whenever you insert something inside the database, no, each and every time the database will say this many rows have been affected, this many rows have been affected. If you use the insert query, database will mention the message 2 rows inserted. If you use update query, it will mention 2 rows updated. If you will delete something, 3 rows deleted. So it will return me a count of how many rows were affected. Right? So this execute query method, execute update method, this execute update method will always return me an integer value. Okay, fine. Now I want to insert something. So first of all, I'll ask the user what data do you want to insert. So first of all, I'll ask the user s out enter the ID. So integer ID is equal to sc.next int. So again s out enter the name of the player. Okay, fine. So string str is equal to sc.next. I'm using a single word for writing down the name. I'm not using space separated input over here. Okay, so now again s out, I need the runs. Enter the runs scored. Integer runs is equal to sc.next int. Okay, and again s out enter how many, enter in how many balls. So again I'll be using a new variable balls sc.next int. Okay, fine. Now I'll be creating a query out of it. String str is equal to what? So I need to write down this entire thing, insert into. So I'll be using insert into score table. And what are the values? These are the values. So values I need to insert, I need to format this string. Okay, so first is ID. Okay, fine. Now again append it, again this, and comma, and again this, and this is the name of the player, that is name. I'll add the name, again this, and now again I'll be inserting runs, how many runs were scored by him. and in how many balls. Again balls, and again append it and add a semicolon over here, and again over here. Okay, fine. And now what I'll be doing, I want to see the output of this. So I want to see whether I have formatted this query in a proper manner or not. Let me just check it. ID and then comma. Okay, runs. Okay, fine. Now I'll be calling the execute query method st dot execute query method. Execute dot query method str, and just go to home. It will return me how many rows were inserted. So integer rows is equal to, and I'll print a message that this many rows were affected. I'll write down this many rows inserted. Okay, fine. This is execute update method, not execute query. Okay, so don't make a mistake over here. So now half of our project is complete. Okay, till now if you have any kind of doubt, just quickly write down in the chat box. And now let's try to run this code and let's see what we are getting in the output. Okay, so I want to insert something. So let's try to insert the ID. Let's say I is equal to 1 and Kohli, and let's say he scored 100 runs in how many balls, in let's say 55 balls. Okay, so we got an error, that is SQL syntax error. What is the error in the formatting? Let's check. So inside the formatting, we might have made some mistake, and that mistake is to add a round brackets. Now this will look perfectly fine. Let's try to run it again and let's see. So let's try to insert the new record, 1 Kohli, and let's try to run 100 runs and 50 balls. So one row inserted, right? So now let's try to view the record. So we can see this record was inserted. Let's try to insert one more. Any suggestion from your end? What kind of player data you want to insert it? Anyone? So sir, can you repeat the execute query versus execute update? See, if you want to view the data, select star from score table. Then every time, whichever select query you are using, no, let's say select star from movies, select star from students, select star from employees. Execute query method will be used. If you want to insert, if you want to update, if you want to delete, all those queries given to execute update method, because it updates the data, right? So the name itself suggests updating query by execute update and selecting query by execute query. Okay, so let's try to enter the ID. What is the ID? Let's try to make one more entry. Let's say Rohit Sharma, and let's say he scored 140 runs in how many balls? Let's say 90 balls. Okay, and let's try to view the data. So we can see these are the data inserted. Okay, and now like I want to exit, so I'll be pressing 5 and this will be exited. Okay, so half of our project is done. The insertion part, the viewing part is done. Now let's try to update. Let's quickly write down the logic to update the data. Okay, so how will we update the data? Till now, is it clear? Yes or no in the chat box? Those of you are from the beginning, you have done half of the project, and at the end of this session you yourself can try out this project. Okay, and this will be one of the minor project. Okay, so just yes or no in the chat box if this part is clear till now. Okay, fine. So I'll do some finishing at the end of this completion, that basically I'll try to make this code more cleaner. Okay, because I have written down everything inside the same method, right? So I'll write down some of the methods, insert method, update method, and then that code will look beautiful. Okay, so now let's write down the case number 3. What is case number 3? So case number 3 is to update the record. Anyone from the audience, do you know what is the SQL query to update the record? So case number 4 is update. Anyone from the audience, what is the query for updation? Update. This is for insert. What is the query for updating? This is for insertion, this is for updation. No worries. I'll explain what is the update, what is the query for updation, insert updation. Update table name, okay, set column, column name is equal to value and where condition. Yes, exactly. So I'll write down update, and then what is the table name? Score table. Score table, because this score table needs to be updated quickly, right? Each and every time after each and every ball, the runs will be updated for every player. So update query is important. So update score table, and then what? The name of the table, and then the column name. Which column name? See, I simply need to update two things. The player name will be inserted in the beginning. Players will be inserted. The runs and the balls needs to be updated. Only two column, two data needs to be updated. So score table set column name. What is the column name? Over here inside the database, what is the name of the column? Inside this score table, it is runs. So insert update score table and set runs. Just a minute. At the rate 5. Yeah. So we'll be not having any kind of so-called round brackets. I'll be using runs is equal to whatever. Let's say he has scored now. Kohli has scored 140, right? And let's say balls is equal to, let's say, uh, 70 balls, and I'll be adding a where condition. That is where I'll be asking the ID from the user. What ID and how many runs and how many scores I need to update, how many balls I need to update, and whatever is the ID for Kohli, it is 1. See, for this is the update query which I'll be using. So update score table set runs is equal to this and balls is equal to 70, where ID is equal to 1. So first of all, I'll ask the user s out, enter the ID of the player. Okay, so he'll enter the ID. Integer ID is equal to sc dot next int. Now enter the runs. Enter new runs. So runs is equal to sc dot next int s out. Enter how many balls in how many balls. So that is integer sc dot next int. Okay, so now this three values will be inserted by the user, and now what I'll be doing? Now I'll be creating our update query, and so str does not look fine, so I'll be changing it to insert query, just writing down, changing the name of the variables to make it more understandable. So I'll create update. What is the table name? Score table set runs is equal to whatever the user will enter. It will use the user enters whatever value, I'll be updating. Balls is equal to whatever the user enters balls, and the where condition, where ID is equal to plus ID, and one more semicolon remaining. Okay, so let's quickly try to just see whether this query is working perfectly fine or not. So first of all, let's try to select star from what? Select star from score table. Just let's quickly execute it and see the output. Kohli and Sharma, it is having 100 runs and 50 balls. So let's try to write down the update query. And what I'll be doing, 140 and 70 balls, and for Virat Kohli. Let's see the updation. And you try to update a table. Key column. So there is some mistake in the query. Just let me just get a confirmation. So no worries. Let's try to focus on this code for now. String update query is equal to update score table, set runs is equal to this, and balls is equal to this, where ID is equal to this. If we'll face the same issue over here when we'll check what is the issue. Okay. Any doubt till now? Yes or no in the chat box. If anyone has any kind of doubt, sir, when we update like this, got SQL injection. Will there be a comma after balls? Will there be a comma after balls? No, I don't think. Okay, so it looks like your MySQL session is the self updates option set. This means that you can update or delete like records without specifying a key. Manual key. Okay. 3 errors are there. Where are you getting the error, Rajneesh? Sir, where when we update like this, we got SQL injection. Okay, so we are not going to go into prepared statement and all that. Did not use a primary ID. Yes, I did not use primary key. So let's try out that primary key. But before that, just quickly complete this code and we'll make the changes in our table afterwards. Okay, so we have not declared anything as a primary key and we'll try out the solution. But now, for now, just quickly write down the case number 3. Okay, so update query. This is an update query. So execute update method will be used. So integer, how many rows are affected? Okay, so I'll be using the st.execute update and let's pass the update query over here. And let's write down a print statement as out how many rows are affected. Rows, this many rows have been updated. Obviously, only one row will be updated each and every time, and I'll be adding some output. Let's say this, just to make our output look beautiful. Okay, for some organization. Yeah. Okay, so now let's say to what is this error rows. Previously declared over here. Let's try to run and let's see what error are we getting. Okay. Variable id is already defined in the main method. Where is id over here? So let's try to use that same id. Okay, I don't need to declare it, totally fine. And where is runs are already defined. Okay, so this variables, what I'll be doing, I'll be declaring it outside as well. So balls is also updated. Okay, and rows is also there. Okay, so now let's try to do it. Okay, and let's try to see. We'll directly view the record first of all, and let's see. This is the record present inside the database, and let's try to update it. Okay, sir, you must have declared outside switch, I guess. No. Okay, yeah, I already declared all those variables. Now, maybe you did not set ID as a primary key. Okay, we'll check it. And now let's try to quickly see the updated. Player ID 1. And what is the new runs? 140 and 90 balls. Okay, and this has been updated from this over here. So let's try to see. Let's see the updated view recorded. See, the Kohli has 140 runs now. Right? Earlier it had 100 runs and 50 balls. Okay, it is working perfectly fine over here from the Java application. So we'll not spend much time on debugging why it was not working on SQL. And now let's try to move forward. This was the updation part. In the updation part, whatever Java application, in whatever I have written over here, whatever code was written over here, do you have any kind of doubt in this part? Almost 90% of our entire thing is complete, and now just a simple query delete query is remaining, and we'll do that as well. Any doubt till now? Yes or no in the chat box. And if you want this application, no, I'll put the GitHub link, GitHub repository link in the description after this session. Okay, so you guys can take the reference and take this project to some advanced level. I'll give you some task. Uh, so you can process it. Okay, fine. So let's try to see the update, and let's try to see the last, that is delete operation. How to delete it? Anyone from the audience? What is the query to delete the operations? If you want to learn something extra, no, I'll go into depth after this session. If you guys want to know more about uh, some queries, I'll share some details that do you really need to worry about all these queries or not. Okay, at the end of the session I'll give you an idea that as a backend engineer, those of you who want to become a backend engineer, do you need to worry about all the different types of SQL queries? Actually, you don't need to worry. Okay, so delete from table where condition. Yes, exactly. Delete from table name. So what I'll be doing, I'll be deleting Rohit Sharma. I don't want Rohit Sharma in my table. So who is your favorite cricket player? How many of you are going to watch the World Cup? Anyone? How many of you are interested in cricket match? So delete, what is the table name? Score table where Dhoni. Dhoni. I will insert Dhoni as well. Great. And when is the I forgot the date. When is our first World Cup match? India versus whoever. Is it India versus Australia or India versus Bangladesh? Delete score table where ID is equal to whatever ID. Today final. Acha. 14th. Today we have a final, India versus Pakistan, India versus Afghanistan. Okay, great. Let's hope India wins the World Cup. Okay, India versus Afghanistan. And when is it? On 14th. I'm not a cricket fan, so like don't judge me on my cricket knowledge. Asia Cup is today. Acha, great. So I only enjoy watching India Pakistan match sometimes, and everyone watches. Almost everyone from India and everyone from Pakistan will be watching. Right? Okay, fine. So delete score table where ID is equal to 1. Okay, let's quickly complete this and we can have a discussion afterwards. Okay, so delete score table where ID is equal to 1. I want to execute this query, but I will ask the user what is the ID which you want to delete. So S out. Okay, so enter the ID of the player. Fine. So integer, not integer. Again, ID is equal to sc dot next. Int, totally fine. And now again, what I'll be doing, I need to write down the query. String, what is the string? Delete query. Delete query. Query is equal to delete delete score table. Delete from score table where ID is equal to ID and semicolon. Fine. And this is my delete query, and it will send me rows. So I'll not write down again rows updated. Right? It is very tedious task. So let's copy it and delete query, and this many rows have been updated, and let's add this over here. Right? Delete from score table where ID is equal to this, and let's try to run this. The entire application is ready, and let's hope we get no errors over here. Let's try to run it. Okay, so first of all, let's view the record. Let's enter Dhoni inside our table. ID, let's keep it as 12, or let's keep it as 13, and MS Dhoni, and let him score 1,000 runs. In how many balls? In, let's say, 30 balls. Hypothetical data. Let's try to view the record. Okay, 1,000. How many? 10,000. Okay. Do you want me to insert any of the hypothetical thing in the database? Anyone? Okay, so now let's focus on how to delete the query. Let's try to write down delete the record. Enter the ID 13 and the query one row was updated. And let's try to see view the record. Dhoni is out of the table. Okay, let's try to again insert something, or let's try to update the record. We have not updated, right? Since when? So how many runs? Let's say 200 runs. How many balls? Let's say 140 balls. Okay, so let's see the, okay, 200 and 140. So our application is ready. Entire CRUD application and a score table is stored inside our database, and we can access it with the help of our Java application. A pretty simple and a very easy to make application with lots of concepts. The fundamental concepts, all the fundamental concepts have been used. Okay. So now let me just quickly make this code clean enough. So what I will be doing, first of all, I will not put this over here. I feel it is very bad to put everything inside the same method. So I'll create a method, view table method. And inside this view table method, I'll be calling this view table method, and that will be static void view table. And let's put this entire thing over here, view table. So now if I put this entire thing over here inside the view table, no, it is working perfectly fine. But this st, that is statement object, no, this statement object is present inside the main method over here. I already declared it over here, no. So as an argument, I will pass this statement object uh, to this view table. So if I call this execute query, no, this statement object, same statement object can be used, statement st. So I'll not get any kind of error. Okay, and if you want to have a look, statement st is equal to what? Not a statement. Okay, so now let me run it and let's see if I get any error. Illegal start of expression. Which expression? 106 static void public static void statement. Acha, did I place it inside the, acha, okay, I placed it inside so called main method. Okay, I need to put it outside the main method. Now it will not get any error. Execute query. Execute query is already the part of statement object. Unsupported SQL exception. Okay, so each and every java.sql class or whatever you will be using, it will be throwing you exception. So what you need to do, just you can use the try catch block, or for now what I'll be using throws exception. Just I don't want to handle the exception for now. Now this is my view table. If I want to view the table, just call this view table method. Now again, let's try to for insertion, I'll make one method. Okay, I'll use one method, control X, and I'll call the method as insert table. Okay, and I'll pass the statement object because st.execute update method will be used. So public, and just at the end of this finishing, just have a look at the code. It will be very much readable. Void insert table, and just let me copy this thing. Let's copy. Oh shit. Okay. I copied this and I already forgot that I overcopied something. Static void insert table statement st thr or throws exception. Okay, let me copy this, insert logic and paste it over there. Okay, so this is my insert method, and see over sc.next, so I'll pass the object of scanner class as an argument as well. Okay, so now here is my insert table, so st and sc. Okay, and did I make the mistake? Scanner. Okay, so this is my scanner, this is my view table, insert table, and now see, let me put it integer, 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 and integer over here. Now update. So let me create one more method, public static. Just bear with me for a few more minutes. Update table statement, statement st, and scanner will be required as over here, and throws exception. So for update score table, let me copy this, put it over here. Fine. And I'll call the update method update table method st and sc. Isn't it looking beautiful now? It is looking much more clean, right? Static void delete table statement st throws exception. Let me copy this as well, delete operation, control x, and over here. So scanner class needs to be passed. Okay, scanner sc, and whenever I call this, I'll pass it. Okay, update delete table st and sc. Okay, so this is the finishing which I applied over here. Id not declared. Okay, integer rows not declared. Okay, so this is the finishing what I did. Now it looks beautiful, isn't it? Yes or no in the chat box. How can we access entire vid after streaming? If after video, this entire video will be available on YouTube as well. Okay, so now this looks perfectly fine according to me. If you also think, just give a thumbs up in the chat box if you feel the same. And we have no errors. Just let me view the record. These are the records, and this is our entire project for the day. And at the end of the like after the video, I would like everyone to try this project on your own. Okay, so any doubt, we can use h2 database as well. You can use any database. See, that is the beauty of this JDBC API. Just two things needs to be changed: the name of the driver class over here, and the database URL, username and password. That depends from user to user and from database to database, right? So just you can write down the username password over here, and this will be working perfectly fine. Okay, Sumant. Okay, Sumant Higde. Great. Thanks for writing down your name. You have been attended. You have attended the entire session, and that's really great. How can we access the entire video? Okay, we can use. Okay, so I hope everyone enjoyed this session. If you really enjoyed the session, do hit the like button and also share it with your friends. And if you have any doubt, I'll be waiting for a few more minutes. You can share your doubts in the chat box. Okay, and if you have not registered Geek Week, so if you really enjoyed this session, no, I would like to tell you, just go and register to this Geek Week. There are more upcoming, like very interesting sessions to be uh, conducted on this entire Geek Week. Okay. Okay, and the recordings, the recordings will be available on the page as well. And yes, that was it from my end. So thank you everyone, thank you for joining, thank you for watching. And at the after this video, try to make this entire CRUD operation project on your own, and uh, do post down your GitHub repository link in the description below as well. Okay, so thank you everyone. My name is Dalsaniya, and it was great interacting with you. Bye bye everyone. You're welcome, Rajneesh. Bye bye. Okay, and do not forget to comment down your views on how this project was and how this video was. Okay, and share it with your friends as well. Bye bye everyone, and good night. Have a great weekend.